Shmeek. Shmeek, 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 please go. Oh, my cat doesn't want to move from this chair. I I still gonna sit. Oh, okay. She's gone. Good morning. Paper One was back. So I wanted to thank you for the overwhelming positive response to my videos. Hey, she's biting me. Hey. So she was pissed that I removed her from this chair. She's still biting me. Okay, so I never thought that the response would been so good. Would be. I just woke up. I need to think for the English words. I never thought that so many people actually wanted to see this stuff. Sorry, I tried to adjust a little bit here. But I guess it's a spooky time, and so it's kind of everyone is in the mood for this stuff, right? So today I'm gonna tell you about my Ouija board sessions and stuff, but I cannot recall them in detail since I was like 14 when that happened, you know. So you can imagine that most of my memories are erased, especially because I smoked so much pot during my teenage years. I forgot everything. I mean, I have my journals, but at that time I wasn't a regular journaling person. So I have I found something funny that I'm gonna share with you, but there are no big entries on stuff. Like most of the time it's just like, today was a shitty day and I had to clean my room and it was so much work. The worst part of being a child is when your parents are saying clean your room, right? So yeah, whatever. I have the feeling this video will be very long because I'm just rambling all the time. But it's the last video, so I might as well squeeze everything in here, from my first encounter to my last one. I don't know. So the first encounter that I ever had, besides Ouija boards and stuff, was when I was 7 or 8 years old. My parents would go out frequently in the evening, like they would put us to bed and then leave the house, you know. So basically they thought we are sleeping and not noticing anyway, right? I guess they were kind of careless in the 80s. That put a lot of trust on my shoulders, you know. Like, I was already caring for my baby brother Domi when I was 7 years old. Like, everything, you know. I did everything. So basically they kind of thought it's totally okay to leave their 8-year-old daughter alone at home. So I couldn't sleep. I woke up, they were not there. And I was sitting in the living room and it was dark. There was a thunderstorm outside and I did lit a candle. Yes, I did. I was not afraid to lit a candle, and it was not a weird thing for an 8-year-old in the early 90s to lit a candle without parents nearby. So I was putting this candle on. I was sitting in the living room and reading a book about really hardcore psychology, you know. I didn't understand anything that I was reading, but I don't know why I read this. I took this randomly out of the bookshelf. And I had the feeling that I have to pretend that I'm not afraid, right? Like I had the feeling I'm being watched and I have to pretend I'm reading and I'm not angsty or anything. And I wanted to wait until my parents come home. So the shine of this one candle in the darkness was shining out of the living room door upon this wall that was right next to the bathroom door. You know, you probably remember when this one ghost was walking right directly from the bathroom into the living room. That's because those rooms are the opposite of each other, and the hallway is only like, it was maybe 1 meter wide or so. It wasn't really like that big. So this wall was painted orange, I think, and the creature that I saw, there was like a shadow creeping over this wall, and it was fast, but I did see it clearly. Did see its shape, you know. It was like a hunched over kind of goblin, maybe. That's like the closest thing I can maybe say. It was like a really, really scary shadow figure that was running there. I mean, back in the day, I didn't know anything about shadow figures or what kind of figures they can even take on, you know. I still don't know. So that was my first encounter with a shadow person, I think, or shadow monster. It looked like a monster. So, and I was just sitting there pretending like I didn't see it, you know, because I thought as soon as I acknowledge it that I didn't see it. What's happening here with my hair? Can you see? Whatever. So as soon as I acknowledge it, I'm in trouble, right? So I tried to pretend I didn't see it until my parents came home. And I think I never told them what happened anyway. Like, it was too scary. So yeah, later when I was 14, we tried to play the Ouija board on this black mirror. And the first time we did that, okay, it was my friend Ginny and Blackie from middle school. They were one grade above me, and Blackie was a goth kind of girl, and Ginny was the normal girl. You know, she was like, you know, blonde hair, normal clothes. Like she was never really like dressing into black or anything, but she was also interested in those kind of things. And so I think we were sitting in my room. I had a really tiny own room. It was, besides I had a really big bed, so I had a double bed. So the rest of the, it was really almost no space to sit anywhere, you know, like, but we sat on the floor with this mirror, and I'm not sure what we used as a planchette. Probably a shot glass or anything in that direction. This is what I cannot remember. And we were sitting there and being like all creepy, you know, but nothing happened. Like nothing. I think it moved, but we were like, you are pushing it, you are pushing it. No way, you are pushing it, right? So this kind of stuff, like, it was more like a children's game. And Blackie and Ginny and me, we used to hang out on the graveyard a lot. Like, we were all, holding candles, sitting on a graveyard, you know. Especially when it becomes dark, we would be like seeing how long we could sit there without freaking out, you know, like having those test of courage kind of things going on. And I have a funny drawing of that. I'm not sure. This is us on the graveyard. Blackie, Ginny, and me. I always drew those kind of things in my journal. Funny. There's actually another one. Yeah, so one day there were younger girls. I don't know exactly the names anymore. One of them was called Janet or so. So we were with this Ouija board thing. We were on the graveyard, in front of the graveyard, It was a really, really old cemetery, like old, extremely old. Like there were monuments, you couldn't read anything anymore on it, you know, like. And in front of the graveyard there was this electricity kind of square thingy. It's like a square gray box where there are cables inside. You know, this is standing everywhere in my old village. So we placed the board on there. It was directly in front of the graveyard, like on the way, basically on the gravel path. And yeah, we were of course joking around again, you know. I did also pretend I was possessed once to just frighten them in the dark, you know. So we were just not very like serious about it, you know. But we had this glass, and this glass was one of those hard plastic glasses, and one of those hard plastic things that do not break. Like I could even stand on them with my weight and they wouldn't break, you know. And back in the day, we believed we have to break the Ouija board and break this glass, and or burn the letters, you know, in that glass, in order to close the session or something. Yeah, we had no fucking clue what we are doing, but nowadays I learned different. So we made probably we did do everything wrong you can imagine. Everything. So we had this black mirror. We were on the graveyard. It started moving, and I'm not sure. I wanted to move it, but someone else was already moving it, or so I thought. And there were like weird things popping up, like weird names, and then it told us, "You will die," and that it was a demon, and I don't know. It was really scary. Basically, the younger girls, they were shitting their pants, you know, and I pretended I was all cool because I thought someone was moving it, you know. And in the end, we became too freaked out, and we tried to break the glass, the shot glass thing. But since it was this hard plastic, it wouldn't break. So we threw it onto the street because there was the main road with cars, and waited until a car ran over it and broke it, you know. And we shattered the black mirror Ouija board like this, boom, on the ground. It was into 1,000 pieces, you know. And then we just run home, like. And later, the parents of those girls, they were calling me, my parents, and saying that I cannot hang out with them anymore because they were super afraid and having nightmares and stuff like this. Yeah, here's a picture of when we went there with those girls. And my brother came to scare us and stuff. So yeah, it was really scary. So in the end, I believe that we didn't move that because the girls were too young. They were only 12 or so, and they would never have come to the conclusion to move the board and letting it say that it was a demon and stuff like this, you know. And they, it was really surprising when the parents called me, and my parents scolded me hard for this. Yeah, I remember. So God knows what we took from this encounter with us, you know. I heard nowadays you are supposed to give a Ouija board away to a different person or sell it, you know, or put it near a dumpster, whatever. Like someone else should pick it up and take the ghost with them together with the board, you know, like whatever is attached to that Ouija board. But when you burn it or break it, you are setting it free or something. Someone please correct me because I don't know. This is just from what I gathered through watching those paranormal investigation videos. Okay. Yeah. I cannot really say that the paranormal activity rose in my home because it was always there. It was always there, but there was a time when it was really forceful, like the time when, you know, when they would scream into my ear at night and I would wake up from it, or you know, when those shadow things moved stuff. This is also the reason why I even turned into this whole witchcraft thing, was because I tried to protect myself. Yeah, I all the amulets and stuff I was hanging on my walls. I was burning all the type of incense, putting like rose water and holy water and salt in every corner and crystals and you name it, everything you could possibly do to protect yourself. I did that, but lo and behold, nothing did protect me. Things were always in my room, except if I yelled at them to fucking go away. You know, like with full force. And it worked sometimes. But now that I learned that I shouldn't do that, I may made it worse. You know, so. Yeah, I have some encounters written down in those journals. And I know you love those journals, and I know you want to see the inside of those journals. But there's a lot of private stuff in here. And with private, I mean, I did cut myself back in the day, right? And I don't want, it's like a lot of blood and bloody tissue papers and stuff is still in here. Like, this is the reason why I cannot show those journals, except maybe if I clip all the pages together. I planned on doing a flip through of here, but I realized I'm showing too many like things. Like, I drew a lot of joints in there and bongs, you know, because I was, you know, smoking my head away at the time, and it was a part of my life. So basically my journal was just full of being stoned or gothic stuff or blood, you know. So that's the reason why I cannot really show them. I wish I could share them with you, but yeah, anyway. So so one time I went with my father on this he was a treasure hunter, in a sense that he would have like those machines, like the one with this round thing on top of a stick, and you go over the ground and it makes beep 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 when there's something, yeah, and you can dig it out. We found tons of old artifacts, you know, like we also found a lot of bombs from the Second World War, and we had to call the police to dig them up, you know. But we found many old coins, especially from the Roman Empire at the time. We found also gold coins, you know, like worthy kind of things, jewelry, a lot of stuff, and old pottery as well. Like the whole ground in my village was basically pottery from the Roman Empire was scattered everywhere. Every time you dug into the ground, you pull out a piece of pottery. You know, that's crazy. There's so much history in there, and one time he took me to that spot. It was near. We had a little haven, like with like little boats, you know, and there was an area that was. It was a tiny little forest, but it was really really tiny. It was just 60 trees or so, like really tiny. It was just a certain type of corner. No one ever went in there, you know. It was just like when you drew past this from on the main road, you would think this is decoration trees, you know, like, but it was actually a little tiny forest. I will never forget what happened. So we went in there, And the ground was very loose, and every step we took was crashing, like we would kind of, our weight would crash into the ground, right? And at first I didn't understand what it was. I was still a girl at this time, like maybe 12 or so. And when I saw those round white things, I thought it was one of those big mushrooms, you know? But then later it turned out that every single step we took, every single under our feet, was actually human remains crashing under our feet, bones and skulls too. I was standing on one skull that just broke, you know, and I was just like going like this with my foot. Yeah. When we realized that what is happening, my dad really quickly pushed me out of that place, you know, and we don't know to this day. I think he said to me, never talk about what you just saw here, you know. And we went back home, and this place still exists, but we never called the police, you know. It could have been like a dumping ground from a serial killer, or maybe like a mass grave from the World War or something. I mean, we need to know that a body needs a time to decompose, right? Until it's a real skeleton without anything else on it. So they were really old, but it was frightening and scary. I told my mom just a week ago about that, and she was like, "What?" you know, because we never told anyone about that. And I know this where the spot is. I don't know if it still exists, but that was one of the most scariest parts. I mean, did you? I mean, none of you probably ever stepped on a human skull and broke it with their weight. You don't even know how that feels like. It feels like, I don't know, some of the most eeriest things you can imagine. And I'm not even sure if we were afterwards haunted by something that you know, if you break human remains, for me, I think human remains are actually something holy, you know, and I'm not really sure if it had consequences that we went into that little place. We just went in there because my dad did search every single area in the village for things, you know, with his machine. So that was scary. I did hang out on the graveyard every single day when I was a youngster. Like when I was 14 to 15, 16, 17, 18, I was daily on the graveyard. I would also skip school sometimes and just sit on the graveyard all day until it's time to go home and pretend I went to school, right? So I really loved the graveyard. And I still do. And I was always kind of drawn to it. And I don't know why. I think I'm probably open to those kind of things, and this is why I shouldn't go there, because I could... Holy moly, what's going on here? Because maybe something will attach itself to me and come with me. That could maybe happen, right? So... Wait, I need to think about another scary story before I head off. I'm just so confused and still tired. There were so many. My mom once told me that she saw a UFO. It was hovering above our houses while she was taking the dog out. We had dogs back in the day before we turned to cats. And that other people saw it too. And that it was like a cylinder shape, kind of like a zeppelin almost, but longer. I think you call those cigar shaped, that they were hovering over the houses. of over our house, to be specific. In case you don't know, many paranormal activities can does not necessarily need to be a ghost or a demon. No? It can also be aliens. So I'm pretty sure that I had something to do with aliens back in the day. Because I was very afraid of being abducted as a child, even though I didn't know anything about that topic at that point in life. So, I don't know, man. One of the scariest things I did see when I was a child was toys moving. Like, hearing children's laughter and seeing a ball flying back and forth as if someone was passing it to the other child, you know, like playing, like this ball game that we all do play. I cannot remember it clearly, but my mom always tells me, you know, that I told her this. And I also found out later, since I had dolls that moved, but don't think the dolls were possessed, but the ghost did just move them, like how they moved all the other things. And I heard, I was reading, I was digging into the history and tried to find out which kind of people were living on that lot during the World War and stuff. And I found out that one of them was a toy maker, a Jewish toy maker. So maybe, and there were also children involved. But I'm not sure, you know, if that has anything to do with our toys moving. Yeah, you can really not find anything. Every time I try to get the history, it's almost useless. It's almost useless. Google is full of entries that do not really give me any good information. I kind of wonder sometimes, you know, how the universe is always doing things to make you grow. What was the whole sense of me going through this? Like, it almost drove me insane. Like, why did I have to go through this? Like, just so I can now tell people about my experiences, or that I know what's going on and I maybe can help others? I don't even know how to help, you know? I don't know. It's, I went through so many things in my life. There is almost nothing that could surprise me anymore. Even when my medium said, my twin soul, you know, my twin soul will marry me, and he isn't even human and stuff, you know, I wasn't really surprised anymore. I'm not surprised about anything, you know? Even if I would see aliens in my room or ghosts, no, I would probably not being surprised anymore. So far I only see orbs. Yeah, like little light balls flying around, but that could also be an optical illusion, so I'm not 100% sure. Oh my god. I just saw something really funny. I was apparently an Eminem fan. Okay, so I think that concludes everything. Bye.